It'll say you are now live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our podcast. What the heck is today's date? Almost Memorial Day weekend. I am here with my buddy Benji Spivey and you'll notice as soon as he starts talking that he's from South Carolina, and they don't act like we do. And actually, you kind of act like me a little bit. You're like
I don't know if I should be offended by that or not.
Yeah, I don't know if it's good. I don't know, but we're going to explain who Benji is. And you guys all have seen the Velocity Money stuff before. Benji and I recently met at through our organization called the Multiple Club, which he's a member of, and he also happens to be a loan officer. And we're about to launch Velocity Money in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. So welcome to our podcast. Say hello to all of our friends out there.
Hey, everybody. Again, my name's Benji. Glad to be here. Super excited about Velocity of Money and the growth and potential here with Frank.
Good stuff. So let's start with where you were sort of in your career. How'd you get started in the business world and kind of what you're about? And then we'll talk about what our future plans are.
Okay. So I originally started my whole adult life. I've been in some form of sales, but I originally started in the automotive industry and quickly got promoted in the industry, but realized on many levels, integrity, morals was not exactly what I wanted to do. Plus, once I started having kids, I wasn't interested in working 18-hour days.
Yeah, Saturdays and stuff.
Yeah. It's
are they open on Sundays down there?
A lot of points, depending on. Well, I lived in Texas for a little while and in California, and they're open.
Yeah.
On all the time.
Yeah, because ours in Jersey are not open on Sundays.
Right. So in Carolina, most of them are closed on Sundays as well.
Yeah.
But my wife's sister actually kept telling me when I was in the car business, she's like, "Man, you got to get a mortgage. You have to. It's half the hours and more money."
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what kind of got me interested in it. I started at a chop shop that is Loan Depot, and
strong company.
Yeah.
Yeah. We think we're better, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then from there, I just realized that it was kind of where I wanted to get intimately involved with people and their finances and to correct their path, because as you know, with Velocity Money, a lot of folks are not where they should be financially, whether they're 23 or 63.
Yeah, and they don't have the training, the experience, the knowledge to do the right thing with budgeting and finance.
Sure. So that it kind of married up well with what I wanted to do in life, and oh, by the way, I can make a decent living along the way.
Yeah. So I joined this thing called the Multiple Club in November of 2020, which was a mind-blowing experience because, all of us sort of have holes in our, if you look at all of the things that go on in our lives, like health and fitness, relationship with our wife, relationship with our, they call it the core four, right? So I realized the things that I was struggling in, and I think you probably realized the same thing. And through our buddy Nick Alfano, he introduced us two, because obviously he knew we were both in the mortgage business, and I don't actually even really consider myself in the mortgage business anymore.
Right.
Like, I'm the founder and CEO of Velocity Money. Velocity Money, our goal is what? Change 10,000 lives by making them real estate millionaires. And when we started talking about Velocity Money, what kind of appealed to you about it?
I mean, that, again, the whole point of me getting into the financial industry was because I wanted to help people. It doesn't, the making a living in the mortgage business was a byproduct of what I ultimately wanted to do. So when Nick introduced us and you started talking about Velocity Money, the main attraction was, wow, because of how simple you make it, telling these people, hey, here's how you do it, but here's a step-by-step instruction manual, and I'm there along the way.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing that attracted me, because you are all about, look, I'm not going to name any names, but we know some of the real estate gurus that their entire pitch is just for you to pay so they can pitch you again.
Correct.
To pay them again.
That's right.
So once I heard what you had going on and really dug in, because you and I had some conversation, I picked it apart with Nick Alfano, and I got to a point where I'm like, wow, this guy, not only is he's given a ton of value, like a lot of value, but he's giving these people something tangible that you're really showing them how to turn it into to becoming a millionaire.
Yeah, and it's a foolproof plan. Why? Because with yield, right, with our property cash flow, we're teaching people how to analyze a piece of real estate. And if it doesn't fit our calculation, they're just not allowed to look at it.
Sure.
Like, you're just not. If the spreadsheet doesn't work, you don't look at the property. Right. And the thing is, like, I find, and we have found across the nation, that there are a lot of real estate gurus, a lot of YouTubers, except they're actually not gurus.
Right.
They're kind of frauds.
Sure.
And people don't know where to start, right? I love real estate. I want to get involved in real estate. Certain TV shows make it look like it's really easy to flip a property and make $100,000.
Right.
You could actually flip a property and lose $100,000.
Sure.
But what we teach is, as you said, a step-by-step way and a step-by-step viewpoint of exactly what the right property to look at is.
Right.
And then we get into, is it owner occupied? Is it investment? Is it second home? How to use vacation rentals? And I'm so excited because with somebody like yourself, there are areas like New Jersey's tough. New York's tough. Why? Because property taxes are really high. In other areas like the South, and one of the places we talk about are college towns, the South has really low taxes. So naturally, when your overhead's less, your profit's going to be higher. When your profit's higher, your yield's going to be higher. Then it becomes a good property.
Sure.
And so there's 10,000 people across America that will be real estate millionaires with our program. Like, I feel that.
Right.
And then we also have the realtors that we can help, because by teaching, training, coaching, and mentoring the realtors, we can make them better realtors by speaking our language and helping us educate people.
Correct.
So we're excited about the realtor community as well.
Right. And that's, and you, I've heard you touch on it before, but it's so important for, especially my realtor partners. It's important if I'm going to be along this journey with Velocity of Money and helping these clients, if I send them to my realtors and my realtors have no idea what my clients are talking about because they haven't been educated, then we're kind of going backwards anyways. So the realtor is in our world equally important, knowing the knowledge as even the actual client that we're teaching.
Yeah, we're going to train 500 realtors in the next 12 months on the Velocity of Money. We're going to be giving out realtor certifications for people that have come through the training course, so that when we match up the student with the realtor in a particular area, then the realtor is able to work hand in hand with the coaching student.
Right.
The other part of that too is, we talked about this in this week's coaching class with some of the realtors, is once the realtors know how to analyze the property, then they can tell us if their area is a good area or not.
Sure.
Like, I've looked at, certain parts of North Carolina, certain parts of South Carolina, several parts of Florida, because I love Florida. And we know areas that are good and bad for real estate investments. We have in our current class, what do we have? We have a few South Carolina realtors that you work with.
Right.
We have one from San Antonio, Texas. We have a couple from Florida, and then the rest are New Jersey.
Right.
So once these realtors understand how to analyze the properties, then they can help steer the coaching clients and help find the properties that are good for our students.
Sure.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Yep. Well, and the other thing about the Velocity of Money for me that is very attractive is, with my realtor partners, it's just another thing that I can add value to their business and help them increase their business, because that, for me, it's always been the approach I've taken anyways.
Yeah.
So this is just one more arrow in the quiver, if you will, that lets me help them increase their business, which in return does increase mine.
Yeah.
But, and not to mention, I know a few that I have that are in the call, they're actively looking to invest in real estate themselves. So not only, they're not just telling their clients, hey, one of these guys are great and they're teaching me great things, but they're doing it alongside them, which just gives it even more credibility.
Yeah, 100%. It's a great point, because, like, and I say this on many of my podcasts, I read a book called Blue Ocean Strategy years ago, which talks about, in a commoditized market, realtors, loan officers, how do we differentiate ourselves from the competition? For me, it's education. Right. So, if we're working with a realtor, we want to educate that realtor so much that they look at what we're teaching them and it makes them a better realtor, and we'll help them convert 3 to 5 times the amount of business because of what they're teaching the client.
Sure.
Then if we're doing loans and we educate first-time home buyers, whether they buy a single family or condo or multifamilies, or whether they just buy one property or a few properties, by educating these people, then they know we can take them to the promised land. Right. The millennial generation, I know you're one of them. There's 88 million millennials across the country. The millennials want a digital experience, right, in the mortgage process, but the millennials also need to be explained to.
Right.
The internet is fraudulent in many ways.
Sure.
The internet is a bait and switch market that says, hey, you can get 2 3/4 right now. It's actually a lie. It's 2 3/4 with 2 points.
Right.
Or whatever the number is. And I always say the car commercial during Christmas time is the $399 like luxury vehicle. Yeah, but it's $9,000 down.
Sure.
So it's not $399.
Right.
Every $1,000 is $27 a month. So it's really a $689 car payment if you were going to put $2,000 down.
Right.
So we don't do that. Like what we're doing with Velocity Money is, and you're in this class with these realtors, is giving so much information. It's 60 to 70 minutes a week for 6 weeks. It's about 8 or 10 hours of information that we're teaching, training, coaching realtors and students who want to become real estate millionaires. And it might be too much information, right? We got some deer in the headlights the other day.
Right. Yeah. It can be like drinking from a fire hose, but like one of my realtors reached out to me afterwards and was like, man, this is fantastic, but I think I've got some questions.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, no problem. We can answer those. But I told him, I'm like, give it a few more weeks and just keep taking notes and keep being very, very intentional about showing up and paying attention and digesting as much as you can. And it's slowly going to piece itself together over the course of the rest of the program. And then by week 5 and 6, it all kind of comes together and it clicks and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I finally got it.
You know, the people that want to get involved in real estate, always thinking about flipping first.
Right.
They don't really know what to do and how to do it. Most realtors just deal with either listings or buyers, and they just keep it to cold calling for listings, for sale by owners or whatever, and or driving buyers around to look at homes. But the millennial buyer, if they don't see a value in what product or service you're offering, meaning if you and I are just like, hey, I'll give you 3% today, or I'll talk to you later, that's just giving them a license to call 3 other mortgage people. But if we educate and show them the value of what we're teaching them, how do you put less money down and have the same payment? How do you not have mortgage insurance? When is FHA a good product? When is FHA not a good product? Why your revolving debt might be at 54% on your credit cards and we need to get it down to 28%.
Right.
That'll boost your score by 30 points. Like all of those things are things that I've always done. And I think you and I have like kindred spirits, even though we're not the same age. You're ahead of your time. I was always ahead of my time too. I was always very business minded. Even in my 20s, I bought and sold the business by the time I was 26. And it was a telecom business. So these are the things when we started speaking that you're already doing too.
Right.
So there was a natural synergy between both of our organizations.
Sure. Yeah. Well, especially the millennial generation. There's times where, I tell them on the phone, look, most people that do what we do on the mortgage side are not, I don't get paid to talk you out of buying a house. But sometimes you look at their financial profile and you're like, hey, this is the wrong time and this is why. Yeah. So having those conversations and Velocity of Money, when I'm looking at their profile, one, not only is it not the right time for you to buy now, but when it is the right time, you probably need to look at a different avenue because, I say it all the time, my generation doesn't trust the government. Right. And Social Security that's not even a conversation worth having with somebody my age. Yeah. And maybe your generation said the same thing when you were my age, but yeah, it's one of those things where it's something that millennials aren't thinking about, and the time is now to start thinking about it. Heck yeah. So, if some of you haven't heard this before, but my big thing is 3 pieces of real estate paid off in 20 years or less. So it's like the phrase I always use is use the bank's money to buy the property, use the tenant's money to pay off the property. And how do we strategically do that? So in 15 to 20 years, these properties are owned outright, and the individual will have $12,000 to $15,000 a month in cash flow, minimum. Right. So the definition of wealth is when your passive income outpaces your overhead on your primary residence. So if somebody's got $12,000 to $15,000 a month in income, and their overhead at home is $10,000 a month, that's wealth. Right. And because they don't have to go to work to pay their bills, the passive investments are paying for it. And everybody probably listening to this is like, wow, that sounds complicated. It's actually not. It's just mechanically, how do we, and no one's ever married, which is also why you and I hit it off,
No one's ever married real estate and mortgage like I've done.
Right.
Right. I've done a lot of properties, and I've also done a lot of loans. And by marrying the two, we can help bridge that gap between the rookie who thinks they're going to flip properties and the scared first-time home buyer who doesn't know where to begin.
Right.
Right. We can bridge that gap. We can give an easy path to get there.
Well, and that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about, and it was one of our first conversations. Even though on the mortgage side, me and you may not share a revenue stream, on Velocity Money, the biggest thing is, great, you can buy a property and you can think you know how to be a real estate investor, but when I go to get you approved for the second property, if things aren't structured right, you may not be able to buy more than one just because of the way people structure their taxes.
No, listen, that's a whole other topic. But yeah, Schedule E, we call it, right? The real estate investor doesn't really know what the accountant does. All the real estate investor knows is they don't want to pay extra money in taxes. So the accountant does whatever the accountant does to not have the person pay a lot of money in taxes. Well, what usually happens is people write off repairs and losses, and then it hurts their income.
Right.
So then they're like, "Why can't you get me a loan?" I'm like, "I don't know. You make $70,000 on W-2, but you lost $33,000 on your property, so your net income is X." So yeah, we coach on that too, and that goes into planning on making sure that they are doing it right with how they claim their rents and their schedules on their Schedule E.
Sure. That was top three of one of the things that was most brilliant that I thought when you and I first started talking about Velocity Money, because I never, and look, I'm in the mortgage business, and I never even thought about if a real estate investor, I was helping them get a loan for a first property, I never even thought about telling them, like, hey, make sure when you structure this next year, we need to do the right thing on your taxes so that I'm able to get you approved again if this is what you're going to continue to do.
100%.
So yeah, that was definitely top three of things that caught my.
Yeah, because we run into it every day, right? It's like, oh, what the heck did you do with your tax returns?
Right.
It's nuts. So just so you guys know, and some of you have heard it, our coaching program is personal coaching, one-on-one. We're really rocking and rolling. I'm going to coach 40 people this year. We have group coaching with groups up to 20 people. We have video coaching coming out. Then we have this thing called Power Hour. We'll spend an hour with someone and sort of give them a little bit of information to get them on their way to maybe they own a property already, and we're just going to kind of help them accelerate and tell them what's exciting, what's coming up in the next 60 days down in the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina area.
So we are planning, finally, after COVID was a bit of a setback, we are finally doing a live event in Myrtle Beach, and it is going to be something that you don't want to miss if you are looking to become a real estate investor and just don't know where to begin, or maybe you're a real estate investor and all this tax conversation that Frank and I just had, maybe you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, maybe I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
This is something that you're not going to want to miss. And there's some exciting things coming for realtors in the area as well from Velocity Money, but definitely we're looking forward to it. Hopefully here in the next 60 days for sure.
Yeah, we're going to set a date in the next week. We're going to get a venue location. We're going to set a date. It's definitely going to be in the next 60 days. We're probably going to limit the room to 300 people.
Right.
And for realtors and people that either want to own a home, have a slight inclination of when they want to buy a home, or want to get involved in real estate, one thing is for sure. When people come out of my live seminars, they are fired up to buy real estate, right? Because I make sure they understand the mechanics of how they need and what they need to do to get there. And there's always three groups of people in the room, right? There's the first-time home buyer,
right,
who doesn't own a home yet. There's the person who owns a single family or condo already. That's probably the Gen Xers or millennial that bought their first home, right? And then there's the person who considers themselves a real estate investor in some form or fashion. And at every level, we can help the people. So we give them a general scope, and then we meet with them one-on-one to talk about what's the action plan to accelerate your life and get you to be that person. Because I think many people on this call, you would be insane not to want $2 million in real estate paid off free and clear and $12,000 to $15,000 a month in cash flow, net of all expenses. Sure. I don't know anybody that doesn't want that.
No matter where you're at in your life financially, who doesn't?
Who doesn't?
Why not?
Yeah. A month later, just so you all know, we will be doing Orlando, Florida. So we're going to be blanketing the East Coast. We're going to do one a month of the face-to-face seminars. And then twice a month, we're going to do a boot camp workshop. So we're going to gather all the people that spend an hour or two with us, say in Myrtle Beach, and then we're going to find a central location, and we're going to do a bonanza day where it's a workshop, and it's 6-7 hours of really plugging in.
Right.
And that's going to be great for realtors and any buyers or any real estate investors that are interested. So this is thank God COVID is winding down, because video is great. It allows us to duplicate, but it's not the same as one-on-one conversations.
Sure. Yeah. Just that in-person interaction is always.
Yeah.
For me, I can't even. Zoom's great for efficiency, but I would rather sit down and have a cup of coffee with somebody over a Zoom call any day.
100%. So look for the dates. Look for the posts. If you're a realtor or a broker owner and you're in the South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia area, reach out to Benji. Obviously, if you're in the Northeast, reach out to me. We're literally tomorrow, I'm speaking to an organization in the Orlando, Florida area, a little bit north of Orlando, that has 87 agents. And I spoke to them about Velocity Money, and they love it because, yeah, there's your Midwest person or your Northern person who's just like, no, I just want to buy my single family, move out of Chicago and move into, Tampa, Florida. But then there's other people that go, well, my 401k, I'm 46 years old now. My 401k isn't anywhere near where I thought it was going to be.
Right.
And I'm looking at possible retirement in 20 years or 15 years and saying, I have a problem.
Right.
And the good news is we have the solution to the problem, because it doesn't take 30 years to pay off a 30-year loan. It could take 30 years, but we show people how we can sometimes do it in 12 years or 15 years.
Sure.
With somebody else's money. So why wouldn't we do that? So if you got anybody, if any of you on this podcast feel like you're kindred spirits like Benji and I, and you're in an area outside what we just discussed, Northeast, we're hitting California, we're hitting Texas. If you want to talk about how to get involved with Velocity Money, we need more maniacs like him and I, who I am going to make 10,000 people millionaires through my program in America, and it's going to happen fast. And pretty soon, we're gonna get a lot of traction in areas that we never were before, like Texas and California.
Well, and even Nick Long, the founder of the Multiple Club, would probably tell us both that we're still undershooting. But I would double down on his 10 and say he's going to create 10. I'm going to create 10. One of you crazy people are going to say, hey, I'm out here in Oklahoma and I've got a spot that you just need to be at. You're going to create 10. I really think even those numbers Nick Long would tell us that we're thinking too small.
That's good. I like it. So give everybody your cell phone number or contact information so they can reach out to you in that area. And then obviously Jasmine does some fancy things with the screen. Sure. She'll put it on the screen.
Yeah. So my cell phone number is area code 682-564-5171. I'm sure Jazz will throw it on the screen. And then my email is Benji, Benji, at thevelocityofmoney.com.
Yep. And I'm Frank at thevelocityofmoney.com. And our office line is, I don't know which one she's going to put on the screen, but 973-869-2740. You guys could always hit us up on Facebook. We're going to be doing one of these a week. Look for the date for South Carolina. Look for the date for Florida. And after that, we're going to be doing New York and New Jersey, of course. And I think that's pretty much it. Do you have anything else to share with everybody?
No, that's it. I'm just excited. I could sit here and talk about it for days.
Me too. Which we've been doing for 3 days already. And we have our first batch of students in this world. I mean, we've had thousands of people come through the previous seminars. Right. And I had a huge following in New Jersey with not only multifamilies, but single families. And I'm very thankful for that. So thank you for everybody that I've done business with. Sure. And
actually, you know what? I will add something. So The other good thing about the Velocity Money and the way Frank has structured it, much like the Multiple Club, it's more than the learning how to be a real estate millionaire and getting a step-by-step manual to do it is great. But the community that you get along with it, because it's great. You made money in real estate, but to do it with a group of people that are like-minded and on the same path you are, one, it's more enjoyable.
Yep.
But two, just as a byproduct, just as because of the human that he is and the human that I'm becoming, because of him and the Multiple Club, as a byproduct, I've become a better father, a better husband, a better everything.
Yeah.
So, the community is almost, I would argue that the community might be worth more than
I think
than
it
the
is.
education.
Yeah, I think it is. And, I have a heart for helping people. And I also have a heart for the fact that America does have a problem, which is retirement.
Right.
But we have a solution to the problem because there are loans, right, that allow them to get ahead with a tenant's money. And just so you guys know, home ownership in America, as a national average, is less than 65%. So 35 to 40% of the people in America rent.
Right.
So if someone's like, well, is there going to be, enough renters? There's always going to be enough renters. And rent always climbs to outpace inflation. So one little tidbit, this is one of the things I teach, is whenever you have a business that has constant level expenses and rising revenue, i.e. rents, it's a good business.
Sure.
So reach out to us, guys. We won't take any more of your time. Benji and I have a bunch more meetings to hit up, and God bless, and we'll see you all soon. Take care.